That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, guys, y'all should know already, league dues were due for all of our Patreon Dynasty leagues. I am sorry that I'm making this announcement over and over and over again. I just want to make sure everybody knows. I've been sending messages in the league chat, but we have still yet to receive some payments for those current Dynasty leagues. So currently, right now, I am filling those with new members on Patreon. Please, it's not too late. If you are in a league, reach out to me and ask if you can still send in those league dues, because your team may not have already been taken. You may still have the opportunity to play in the league this upcoming season, even with getting in your league dues a little bit late. So don't worry, please reach out to me ASAP. And if you have not already and you want to join one of those Dynasty leagues, please also reach out to me on Patreon. Everybody, send me those DMs. I get back to you within, I want to say, the hour. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but I am constantly checking Patreon throughout the entire day trying to get those leagues filled. And we should have a ton of Dynasty startup drafts going forward. But in this video, we are going to focus in on what is going to be happening in the first round of those Dynasty startup drafts, where we are going to be looking at two extremely young quarterbacks that look like they are going to be cornerstone of Dynasty teams. And I know right away, a lot of people are going to be so excited to draft Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people are going to be wanting to take him as a quarterback that should be a top 5 option over the next 10 or 15 years. Now, yes, he is quite possibly the best quarterback prospect that we have seen since Andrew Luck. I know that gets floated around every single day by every draft analyst, so we don't want to focus too much in on that. What we want to focus on in this video is we want to focus on who you should be valuing a little bit higher between Kyla Murray and Trevor Lawrence. At the end of the video, I'll throw some other quarterbacks in this conversation, like a Josh Allen and a Justin Herbert, because I think there is a ton to go over here. And yeah, let's get into it. And just like we have with all of these other versus videos, what we are going to do is we are going to go player by player, and we're going to start it off with the veteran that I loved targeting in the first round of Dynasty startup drafts an offseason ago, and this is going to be Kyla Murray. Okay, so Kyler is going into year 3 in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury, and he is only 23 years old. Now, with quarterbacks, I want to emphasize age does not matter nearly as much as most people want to make it out to be. I mean, with running back, it's everything. That's why I'm avoiding the Alvin Kamara, the Derrick Henry, the Dalvin Cook in the first round, and I would prefer going after the Jonathan Taylor and the DeAndre Swift. But generally, at the quarterback position, I am much more likely to go with the older veteran at a slight discount, someone like Russell Wilson, except if they profile to be someone like Kyler Murray, who is truly an elite option at the position. But I want to make sure we're not putting too much of an emphasis on the fact that he is so young at this point in his NFL career. While yes, he should continue to progress as a passer based on what we saw his first 2 seasons and just the trajectory that he is on, I want to let everyone know we do not need to be running away from those veteran quarterbacks. You do not need to be selling Russell Wilson at a discount to go over there and pay up for a Kyler Murray. Now, if it fits your team build, if you really like Kyler Murray this upcoming season, that is something that is completely fine. But please do not go out there and just chase age at the quarterback position, because generally that is how you lose in your Dynasty Superflex leagues. But with Kyler Murray, let's kind of look at what kind of a college quarterback he was coming into the NFL. Clearly, he was the consensus pick at 1 overall by the Arizona Cardinals. And this is because his 2018 season at Oklahoma University was quite possibly the best quarterback season that we had in college football until Joe Burrow in 2019. You look at this year and it is absolutely insane. About a 70% completion rate, over 300 passing yards a game. Now, what is ridiculous is the yards per pass attempt, where that was hovering about 11.5 yards per pass attempt. Clearly, that is an elite number. You don't need me to tell you about that. 42 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, and about a 200 passing rating. Just absolutely ridiculous with what he was able to do throwing the ball. But what was even better, and why I loved Kyler Murray in rookie drafts, why I loved Kyler Murray in Dynasty startup drafts, was the same reason that we liked Jalen Hurts this past offseason. It's that targeting the rushing quarterback, getting the quarterback that is going to be able to run you the ball. And we knew this with Kyla Murray based on A, just watching him play the game of football and how fast he is, but B, by his rushing production at Oklahoma, where he had a total of 1,000 rushing yards in that 2018 season. This equates to 71 rushing yards a game and 12 total rushing touchdowns. Now you add these rushing touchdowns to what he was able to accomplish in the passing game, and we're looking at 54 total touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So clearly, I know they did not walk away with the national title. I know they play in the Big 12, and most teams in the Big 12 don't decide to play defense, but this is one of the best collegiate seasons that we have ever seen from a quarterback, and I think we need to take note of it. I don't think we should be putting it at a discount. More importantly, though, we should be focusing on what he's been able to do at the NFL level so far. I just wanted to give us a quick reference point to what Kyla Murray was coming out of college, because clearly that's where Trevor Lawrence is in his own NFL career. In this past season, Kyla Murray took that next leap. Kyla Murray was the quarterback 2 in points per game with a minimum of 6 games, only behind Josh Allen. And he did this with fantastic statistics all around, specifically in the rushing department. Y'all know that I put an emphasis on this every single season. What we are doing is we are looking for the quarterbacks that can run the ball. I am not the guy to be rostering Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, any pocket passer that does not provide us that elite level upside. I do not want on my roster. This is why this past offseason, we are going after guys like Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. These are the quarterbacks that don't only have the elite passing upside, but they are also going to give you that rushing floor, and it elevates their ceiling at the same time. Where with Kyla Murray, he was averaging over 50 rushing yards a game for the Arizona Cardinals, had 11 total rushing touchdowns. Now, I'll say this is the one thing with Kyla Murray that I am expecting to regress going into next season. I don't think we are going to be able to see him come close to that 11 touchdown number in the rushing department. So yes, he is going to regress slightly, but his passing numbers, in my opinion, should stay relatively stable. He was close to 67% passing with 250 passing yards, 26 passing touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. And you look at what his wide receiver room is going to be in 2021. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is tied up there. Christian Kirk is playing under the last year of his rookie contract, I believe. And then you also have Andy Isabella. Now with Isabella, I know I just made a video about him saying that I am mainly giving up on him for Dynasty Fantasy Football, as I don't think he can be a player that can command the volume to be able to take that year 3 leap, to be able to make it into our starting lineups. But he still has the speed where possibly he can carve himself out a role without Larry Fitzgerald there, where he is operating as the field stretcher. We see Christian Kirk kind of slide a little bit into the slot, and we see DeAndre Hopkins play that X-alpha wide receiver role. But we also know that there is so much wide receiver talent in this draft class upcoming, and the Arizona Cardinals are picking 16th, which is going to be right in the range where if they decide to take someone that has speed, if they decide to take a Rondale Moore, if they decide to take a Jalen Waddle, they could possibly get those players at the 16th overall selection. Now, I don't think this is a likely outcome, especially after they decided to pass on CeeDee Lamb in 2020. Now, imagine how ridiculous this roster would be with CeeDee Lamb and DeAndre Hopkins both on the roster. I would have loved to see that collegiate wide receiver and quarterback pairing happen, but it did not. I still think that this is a team that should be in conversation around those speedy wide receivers, as they are going to be losing a Larry Fitzgerald. At least I'm projecting them to be losing a Larry Fitzgerald, as he has been wildly inefficient over the past few seasons. We know he's pretty much the oldest player in the NFL at this point, and I'd be very surprised if he's coming back. I don't think that's going to hurt the passing offense in the slightest. I would actually prefer to see them go out there and get some speed. So with Kyla Murray, I think we can quite confidently say that he is a first-round selection in Dynasty Superflex drafts this offseason. He's already an elite top 3 quarterback based on his 2020 production. His wide receiver room is not going to be getting any worse, and he should be able to continue to develop as a passing quarterback. He was the best high school quarterback of all time. Then in 2018, he put up, until that point, the best collegiate season of all time at the quarterback position. And he's been fantastic in the NFL so far. So Kyla Murray, I mean, a locked-in stud. We know he's elite, and I'm going to be taking him in the first round of Dynasty startups. But then, on the other hand, the question comes in, where are we taking Trevor Lawrence? Where does Trevor Lawrence slide into here? I mean, we've heard so many draft analysts say that Trevor Lawrence is that generational quarterback prospect, only 21 years old. I mean, he has been the man at Clemson since his true freshman season. He has been the man in the entire country since his true freshman season once he was able to take over as starter halfway through the year. And he has gotten slightly better every single season throughout his football journey at Clemson until his 2020 season, where he posted a career high in completion percentage close to 70%. He was able to go over 300 passing yards a game. The passing yards per attempt was a fantastic number at 9.4, 24 touchdowns, 170 passing rating. And at the rushing department, very similar to Joe Burrow, where obviously this is not a strength. Obviously, we are not going to see Trevor Lawrence ever turn into a Kyla Murray, ever turn into a Lamar Jackson on what he's able to accomplish rushing the football. But he's a very sneaky guy where he is going to be able to pick up some rushing touchdowns. He is going to be able to pick up first downs by rushing as well. And that's what you want to see. That's what elevates the quarterback up to kind of like a late career Russell Wilson, where yes, he's primarily a pocket passer, but he can escape the pocket and he can get you some production on the ground, although we are not leaning on that. That's at least what I'm envisioning right now with Trevor Lawrence. I'm not going to dive into any film with Trevor Lawrence. I know a lot of people are going to be wanting to act like they are draft analysts. I know a lot of people are going to be wanting to try to scout these quarterbacks on the football field and what he was able to do at Clemson. I think we are kind of wasting our time if we are doing that, given the fact that at the quarterback position, we generally have a lot more success if you just follow draft capital, if you follow the numbers in their supporting cast in college. This is why I did not like Tua this past season. While a lot of film guys loved him, you just looked at the wide receivers that he had at Alabama. You looked at the fact that Najee Harris is coming out. Najee Harris is going to be the top running back in the country. He also had Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. At some point, he had Irv Smith Jr., he had Jerry Jeudy, he had Henry Ruggs, and there were so many quality guys at Alabama that it's really hard to evaluate a quarterback like Tua. But in the case of Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he has had some fantastic wide receivers, but we know that his number one option actually missed the 2020 season based on a severe injury that he found out with his vertebrae. I believe it was in his neck, if not his spine. Obviously, he also lost T. Higgins in the 2020 season as he was drafted to the Cincinnati Bengals. So you don't really have the question marks surrounding an elite supporting cast for Trevor Lawrence. And he's stepping into a situation with Jacksonville where there are so many moving variables. Obviously, there's not much stability at the head coaching spot. There's not much stability in that front office, but his weapons should be locked in, which are DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, and James Robinson. Now, all three of these players I am excited about going forward because they are getting an elite level quarterback prospect in Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville. But for so many reasons, I think that if you hear analysts say that they would prefer having Trevor Lawrence over Kyla Murray in Dynasty Fantasy Football, they truly don't understand what they are talking about. While I am 100% willing to say that Trevor Lawrence could easily be the better NFL quarterback, he could lead the Jacksonville Jaguars to having more wins, more Super Bowl appearances over the next 10 years compared to Kyla Murray with the Arizona Cardinals. If we are talking strictly fantasy football, we have to understand, we have to be smarter than just these mouth-breathing guys that want to go, this player's better, he's going to score more points. No, that's not how it happens. How it happens is we are playing a fake game built on a real game, and at the quarterback position, you win your leagues by getting that elite level rusher. You win your leagues by getting someone who is going to rush for 50 yards a game. Because if we were looking at a Kyla Murray, I think we can confidently say that he's most likely going to average, just say, 35 more rushing yards than Trevor Lawrence throughout the course of the next 3 seasons per game. And that equates to pretty much 1 passing touchdown. So Kyla Murray is getting a significant advantage, especially when you consider that rushing touchdowns are 6 points and passing touchdowns are only 4. So please, I understand that Trevor Lawrence could easily be the better quarterback at the NFL level. But I'm going to be going with Kyla Murray, the guy that we've already seen have elite production, the guy that racks up points on the ground as well. That is the cheat code in fantasy football. That's all I talk about all the time. We are going to be going with Kyler over Trevor Lawrence, although I think Trevor Lawrence should slide into a range of Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert. I think he should be in that tier. I think how the quarterbacks are breaking down in Superflex leagues this offseason, you have Mahomes by himself in tier 1. Then you have Kyler Murray and Josh Allen in tier 2. Then you have a giant tier of tier 3 guys with Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson. And really, we are going to see so much changing from analyst to analyst, player to player, in how they rank those quarterbacks. But I have a sneaky suspicion that a lot of people are going to want to look at Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people are going to want to get too excited and decide to put him up in that quarterback range with Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. And I cannot do that. I mean, that is reckless on so many levels, especially when age at the quarterback position is not that important, to be honest. I think, yeah, we are going to be avoiding Trevor Lawrence if he gets priced up to the Kyler Murray point. But if he's going next to Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, that's where he becomes accurately priced. That's where you can afford to take him in your Dynasty startup drafts. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And yeah, that's it. I will see y'all with the video tomorrow and hopefully a live stream sometime soon.